won the die roll for round one, which is always great. And the sand is pretty reasonable. Obviously not very exciting. This is like one of the weird things about playing a Splinter Twin combo deck that also tries to function like a real deck, where you have like these lightning bolts and then these really bad creatures, and you just try and hope you can piece something together. And sometimes that works, and that's basically why this deck exists. So I think, like, depending on what our opponent is playing, we're probably not going to bolt on turn one, but I guess with a lot of burn decks out there, and now even the Abzan decks have things like Noble Hierarch and such, it is more likely that we'll want to bolt on turn one, and especially if he's burn, we're going to want to just fetch a basic mountain here. So I I recognize my opponent's green name. I think he qualified for a Mox at some point, and didn't really seem like the type to be playing burn, but he's playing Amulet, so it's a little bit worse for me, I would say. This matchup is generally pretty good for Twin, but it's only good for the Twin decks that are full on combo. Like, obviously these lightning bolts and stuff are not very good. I would much rather have things like Spellskite and whatnot. So hopefully we can find a Splinter Twin here and just kind of put this away. But for right now, I definitely want a red and a black. So I could definitely see just getting a Blood Crypt. But if I do something like draw Serum Visions into a Spell Snare for a Summer Bloom, then I'm going to want to have 2 blue mana, so I don't really want to fetch the Blood Crypt right away. So we have a Snapcaster. Not that great, obviously. There's certainly some merit to just like bolting him too, but I think we're going to have to save these 2 lightning bolts to kill a Primeval Titan. And then we're just kind of hoping and praying here. Like, I know that I'm supposed to be the threatening deck, but like, I'm the one with, half combo and half normal deck, and my normal deck part is not very good against him, so I'm definitely feeling more scared on my side than he probably is. So now he has 2 amulets, so if he has basically anything, he's going to be able to generate a ton of mana. But a lot of the time against these amulet decks, you're just kind of at the mercy of how good their draw is going to be. I'm certainly not scared of a Glimmer Post, that's for sure. So maybe he's setting up for a gigantic turn, or he doesn't have a Summer Bloom or an Azusa, but just wants to play a bounce land next turn, get 4 mana from it, and play Primeval Titan off that. So that's entirely possible. And if that's the case, I might want to just tap his Tendo on his upkeep, because that will keep him off 6 mana for Primeval Titan. So I think I'm going to get Watergrave and then fetch a mountain with this Scalding Tarn, and I think I'm just going to tap his Tendo on upkeep, because that will put him at 5 mana. Like, if he had a Karoo and a Summer Bloom, he could just play that, make 4 mana, return the Karoo, cast Summer Bloom, and I guess he would not be able to play around Mana Leak, and maybe that's his concern, but he would certainly be able to play around Remand very easily. He would not be able to play around Spell Snare, which I guess is a card that a decent amount of people are playing. So it does make sense for him to just try and play the Titan, a natural Titan on turn 3. Because if he played a Karoo, got Spell Snared, then he has to wait 2 more turns. So yeah, I'll just get this Watergrave. And now we have a Remand. So I think I still want to tap his Tendo upkeep. And then I can kind of start giving him the beatdowns, and then be able to remand on the following turn. And then we just hope that really bad things don't happen to us this turn. Because even if he has Karoo Summer Bloom, which is basically what he needs, he would be able to do that through my Remand anyway and get a Primeval Titan, I think. Yeah, because he would make like 16 mana or something absurd. Well, here's Azusa. Yeah, it looks like he just doesn't have a Karoo. So kind of a bad beat for him. But since their deck normally has 10 or so Karoos, I don't think I want to just play this Deceiver on his turn. Like, obviously, if I just tap his land, he doesn't have a Karoo, he can't play a Titan, and things are all good for me. But if he does draw a Karoo, yeah, he'll make 9 mana. Because I'm obviously going to bolt this Azusa. So then my Remand is actually still live for a turn, and then that gives me 2 shots at hitting Splinter Twin. So I'm just going to attack here, bolt his Azusa, and pass, and hope that bad things don't happen. And then if he starts just playing Titans, naturally I'll go Remand, and then next turn I can like snap Remand, and I'll probably be bolting him in the meantime, since I have to waste 1 on this Azusa for sure. Because I can't risk him drawing a Karoo and just like going nuts. So it might just be better for me to actually start going upstairs with these lightning bolts. And he just passes without doing anything, so I think I'm just going to play this Exarch. I suppose it's worth noting that he could have Pact of Negation and Slaughter Pact as things that I would potentially want to play around. Generally, these decks only have 2 Pact of Negations, 1 Slaughter Pact, but I don't know. I'm probably in a position where I kind of want to go for it if I have it, like, although I do have a few turns at least, but this deck doesn't really have any good game 1 protection. Like, there are no Dispels, there are no Thoughtseizes or anything like that. So I feel like in matchups like these where they're putting you on a ton of pressure, that you just kind of have to go for it as you have it. He's only got, 3 cards that interact with me, right? That's not a lot. Like, even if he Pact of Negations, that's not the worst deal, because then he has to just skip his turn. But if he has Slaughter Pact, that's when it's like pretty bad, because he could pack me, draw a Karoo, and then still Primeval Titan me. Now we're just kind of chilling, just waiting. Tasigur would probably be pretty good here, just because it'd be so cheap and would give me a realistic threat. And that'd be pretty nice, because then I wouldn't have to commit myself to playing Splinter Twin if I did draw it. So we should just get an island here, I think. I think there is a non-zero chance that I'm going to want to go snap bolt on a Titan if he ends up having an excess amount of mana due to like him already having a Summer Bloom and then him drawing a Karoo. So maybe I don't want to bolt him just yet. Let's tap that Gemstone Mine. So Stomping Ground obviously doesn't do too much. Just shows off the fact that we have all these pretty colors. And now we just kind of wait and see what happens. We're clocking him a little bit, obviously not as much as we would like. What is this red mana thing that he's doing? Simian Spirit Guide. Sure. So does that mean that he doesn't have a Primeval Titan? He's a Wolf Run. That's strange. I feel like if he had a Titan, he would just cast it there. Probably the same with like a Hive Mind. So what is he sitting on? Alright, so if I go snap, bolt your Spirit Guide, I can attack him to 11. Another Lightning Bolt makes it 8. And then if I remand, I'm still like a turn off. So I think I'm cool to just Lightning Bolt this, but I don't want to use the Snapcaster just yet. Because I still kind of want to save it for remand. And now we have a million remands, so now we can just throw away the Snapcaster, I think. And by throw it away, I mean, you know, use it to start pressuring him. So if we go Snap Bolt, puts him at 10, and then we have 5 points of power, which is a 2-turn clock with 2 remands, so that should be good enough. Third Amulet is not great. The second Amulet is very, very good, but the third one is just completely superfluous. You just don't need that. And these are the sort of anemic beats that this deck is pretty good at making happen, so I would be very surprised if he was able to kill me through 2 remands, but 3 amulets could certainly make that happen. Well, there's the crew. And I don't think we're going to be responding to these amulets at all. And apparently neither is he. Strange. So still just has nothing to cast. I am perplexed, to say the least. Find it strange that my opponent is just on mono air, but I don't know, it happens sometimes. Deck doesn't have too many threats in it, like generally 11 plus however many Tellerias they want to run. And yeah, that's it. That was just not a game. That was very strange. I definitely felt scared the majority of the time, but then just nothing happened. So, okay. I will take it. So Bolt would obviously be good at dealing with Azusa, but I think they've been shaving on Azusas. So just bringing in some more counterspells, some Thought Seizes, and I definitely want something to handle Amulet. So I think it's going to be 2 Grudges, although the explosives are a consideration as well. Dispel is reasonable against packs, and if I'm trying to force through the twin combo. So I suppose I could go that route. I don't think this is going to come up all that often. But just because they have Pact of Negation, it might be worth it. So I think I could do that and just cut the Tassigurs. Kind of unfortunate. Want to play with Tassigur, but what are you going to do? I drew it the last turn there when I attacked for lethal, so... do I want the 3rd Grudge? Grudge is like kind of tough on the draw. So they go land Amulet, and then you play land, and then they do stuff with their Amulet before you ever actually get to kill it. So I don't know. Maybe since I have Thought Seize and Spell Snare, I have enough things to interact that I actually want this 3rd Grudge. But then what do we cut? I do want to keep in the twin combo. I like the Vendilions. I suppose I could just cut a Thought Scour. We're no longer Tassiguring, so Thought Scour could hit an Ancient Grudge. That'd be kind of nice, but I think all the other cards are better. So we'll just try that. We'll see what happens. I think my little 2-1 beaters can get them dead, so don't necessarily need the Tassigurs. So... this is an interesting one. He kept 7. I can fetch a Watery Grave and Thoughtseize him, and then also have a Serum Visions. And then I have some decent answers here. between Grudge and Terminate. So I think this is a pretty reasonable hand to keep, especially since we're on the draw. Like, if we're on the play, like, maybe we'd be fine mulliganing into any random 6-lander or 6-card hand with some lands and spells, you know? But since I'm on the draw, I think I really want a Thoughtseize or a Spell Snare. And if I didn't have a Visions, I would also probably mulligan. But all these things considered, I think this is a pretty reasonable hand. Obviously, Cryptic is the one card there where it's like, that's so expensive. I don't think the game is going to get to that point, and that might be true. So we might effectively be on 6 cards as is. And then I guess we would want to fetch a Watery Grave and a Stomping Ground, although that makes me feel strange about the fetches that are in the deck. Yeah, I have a lot of Polluted Deltas, which doesn't fetch Stomping Ground. Those could be Misties, but they don't fetch Blood Crypt, but I think that's okay. Our opponent is just taking his sweet time, so we're going to pause it here real quick. And obviously, as soon as I pause it, he comes back. And this is not good. This is a turn 1 Amulet off a Spirit Guide, and a Summer Bloom, and presumably a Titan. So this is like, you know, whatever. This is... There's not a whole lot of things that you could play in Modern that could stop this. This is just the joke. This is the four card perfects. Okay, you have a Hive Mind. And a Summoner's Pact. Sure. Yeah. Well, I guess it did not matter whether we mulliganed or kept because we're dying. I don't know. I thought my hand was pretty good. I thought we could actually play a game that round, or play a game that time. My opponent had other ideas. The turn 1 win. People think that Vintage is messed up and full of turn 1 wins. Well, welcome to Modern. So the plan for game 3 is to not get killed on turn 1. And we'll see if we can do that. Our hand is kind of light on disruption, but I think this is good enough. So we're just going to keep this and hope for the best, I suppose. Hope this Serum Visions hits, or hope our Remand is good, or barring that, hope Terminate is good enough. So I think we're just in mono fetch dual mode here. I think Watery Grave and then Stomping Ground. Should be good. Should be good to go. I definitely don't want that Blood Crypt, and I think we're going to be able to slow him down enough to the point where Cryptic is live, so we'll keep that on top. And again, kind of just treading water here, and hoping that we can actually get to the point where those cards are live. I would like to say that the Amulet deck is not consistent enough to, you know, continually be putting that kind of crazy pressure on you, as like on turn 2 and turn 3, but I don't know. It's you can't stop it. It's just up to the draws that they have. So kind of, you know, not the funnest gameplay, and certainly not all that interactive. And I don't know. It's just up to their draw steps, I suppose. It appears that our opponent is moving. He's doing stuff. Thankfully, I've managed to make it to my turn 2 unscathed. So things are looking up, maybe? I don't know. plant token, not entirely all that threatening. Might save him 2 points of damage somewhere down the line, but we do have the Splinter Twin in hand, so might just combo him out. Might just find one of my easy wins. I guess I'll just pause it again. Our opponent is taking his sweet time. Summer Bloom. Yeah, I don't really want to deal with this quite yet. So pretty clearly does not have an amulet. I feel like that would have gotten played turn 1 instead of the Glimmer Post, and then he could untap his Calling Garden on turn 2 and Summer Bloom. This is probably just one of the raw Summer Blooms where you're trying to put 3 mana sources in play to actually cast a turn 3 Titan. I mean, obviously I could just like wait until he plays the Titan and then remand that, but I'd rather remand this, which will effectively give me another turn. Next turn he has to waste his turn Summer Blooming, and then that's fine. He gets his mana all set up, and then I'll be ready for Titan with Cryptic next turn. Obviously this all goes south if he has, you know, his 1 or 2 of Cavern of Souls or a Pact of Negation, but even then, if he doesn't have Amulet, it's not that big of a deal. It just depends on what kind of follow-up he has. Like, if he, say he has to Summoner's Pact for the Primeval Titan, that's beautiful for me, because then he has to take his turn to pay for the Pact. But generally, if you resolve a Twin against a deck that, or a Titan against a deck that could deal with your Titan, you just get a Teleria West and like a blue-green Karoo, and then you get to transmute that for a Pact and then play another Titan. But every time that happens, like, you have to still pay 4 mana for that Pact, so it's kind of like this thing where like every other turn you're playing a Primeval Titan, and I think I can weather that storm. So I have nothing else going on really, so we're going to Serum Visions. We do find another Remand and a Pestermite, and I don't think I need this Snapcaster. I definitely want this Pestermite though. Note that I have a regular duel, whereas if I did not have that duel, I might be more inclined to fetch first, so that I had potential mana to do things that I wanted to do before I Serum Vision, so that, you know, in this case I get to keep a Pestermite on top and don't have to shuffle it away. I mean, it just ended up being the best case scenario, where I draw Remand and have Pestermite on top, so. Now we'll get his upkeep stop set. Yeah, maybe we'll be good to go here. We'll see. He has to discard due to clean up. He has a Reclamation Sage. Jeez. That's an odd bird. So here we could just keep open Cryptic mana, but I don't like that. I would rather just tap his land down. I don't think he can do anything threatening, and if he can, good beats. It basically requires him casting an Amulet, playing a Karoo, then a Summer Bloom, then a Titan, and even then he still can't kill me. So now he finally has Summer Bloom that he can cast, and he has a Seal of Primordium, so that's kind of annoying, I suppose. Deals with our combo relatively well. So now we are back to the normal beatdown game. If he doesn't play anything super threatening, maybe I can bounce his Seal and then Splinter Twin. Or maybe he plays some spell and I get to go like counter bounce your Seal. But yeah, if he doesn't end up putting like 2 blue mana in play, or black mana, then I don't have to worry about his packs because then he can't pay for them anyway. So, ooh, Dispel. That might be good. So the sheer fact that I was so happy to draw this Dispel probably means that I should happily be sideboarding it in. So I'm glad I did put it in my deck. It just means that no matter what he does, I'll still have counterplay for any crazy pack shenanigans. I guess maybe it should just be in there anyway, because it proactively deals with Summoner's Pact. Like, he casts it and I just counter it, and then he can't even search for Primeval Titan. So in a way, it's another card that can potentially deal with the Titan, so might be alright anyway. But them at 5 mana. Uh-oh, I meant 6, because he has a Spirit Guide. Hive Mind. Counter, bounce. And now he has this Tendo, so he has both packs online. But with him doing this whole Hive Mind thing, oh, maybe that should have been a breeding pool, because then I could pay for all of his packs. That was a huge mistake on my end. I should have just gotten a breeding pool there. Could potentially loss of his hand was like another Pact of Negation and a Summoner's Pact. It's pretty funny. Alright. Anyone interested in Infinity Fairies? Yay, we did it. Alright. Oh, man. So, got that match. I got killed on turn 1 once when I had a Thoughtseize, and could have potentially paid for all my opponent's packs in this game had I fetched correctly. So yeah, modern is very strange.